स्वेनावधेतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ कपिलाय नमस्तस्मै विद्योदधौ जगतिमग्ने कारुण्यात् साङ्ख्यमयी गौरिव विहिता प्रतरणाय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः We have seen up to Karika 36, where the discussion of buddhi, the importance of buddhi. Among all instruments, all karanas, buddhi is important because buddhi has the direct reflection of consciousness. So in regard with buddhi is important, it has been mentioned in 36 Karika. Yede pratipakalpaha paraspara vilakshana. Although all these instruments are modification and manifestation of gunas, various manifestation of gunas, they cooperatively work together like a lamp. It can, for the example, a lamp. Lamp has wick, oil and fire and all those parts, and the lamp works for light. So similarly, the objects are different, but the aim and the goal of the objects working together is one and the same. It is for the purpose of Purusha. This is how the creation takes place, and after the creation, you can say after the manifestation of all these instruments, ultimately the Kaivalya also comes. So Purushasya prakasha buddhau prayachanti. Now this buddhi and other instruments, they are working in a rhythmic way, or it has successive steps how it works. So like we have one small chart is there. Eyes are formed. Now the form of that object is there in the mind, and then it goes to ahankara. So when something comes into the mind, the ahankara identifies that I have, or I see, I hear, I touch. So this I-ness is attached to that. After this, it goes to intellect, because mind and ahankara together, they decide the character of object as good and bad, enjoyable and suffering, all those. It decides that. And after that, the intellect is experiencing, or we can say intellect is exhibiting the object there to the Purusha. So when it is the intellect, the Purusha's enjoyment is reflected there. So this is how it happens. Now here, just for the information, the Drishyam and Prakriti, all manifestation together, when we call as bhoga or experience, all these ingredients are there. So all explained here. And continuing with the importance of buddhi, we see next Karika 37. Sarvam pratyubhogam yasmat purushasya sadhayadi buddhihi.
Sarvam pratyubhogam yasmat purushasya sadhayati buddhihi.
Sarvam pratyubhogam yasmat purushasya sadhayadi buddhihi. Saivacha vishinashti punas pradhana purushantam sukshmam.
Saivacha vishinashti punah pradhana purushantaram sukshmam. Saivacha vishinashti punah pradhana purushantaram sukshmam.
So both these activities, enjoyment and kaivalya, emancipation, is given by buddhi only, by intellect. We can say it is from Prakriti's part. So, sarvam pratyubhogam yasmat purushasya sadhayati buddhihi. So, sarvam, all, the entire bhoga, the pratyubhogam, in regard to all the objects. Yasmat purushasya sadhayati buddhihi. Since intellect accomplishes the entire bhoga or experiences to Purusha. So Purushasya sadhayati buddhi. And this is already we know. Now the next point is Saivacha vishinashti punaha. After some time, we can say after once the enjoyment is over, so there the renunciation comes. So in that stage, from where the viveka starts, the discrimination starts. So saeva, so that intellect itself, vishinashti, discriminate. Vishinashti means to separate, to discriminate, specifically separate. Vishinashti punaha, after that. It means there is some gap. So after some time, buddhi itself will discriminate pradhana purushantaram sukshma. The subtle discrimination, sukshma. What it is? Pradhana purushantaram. The difference between pradhana and purusha. This also done by intellect only. That is what it wants to say. Now this discriminative knowledge is said to be the last function of Prakriti. Because after this, there no function is required. After discrimination is complete, So pradhana completes its function, it fulfills all the activities. That is what the Sankhya says. Now, for that particular Purusha, the particular Jiva, particular soul, there is no need for any activities connected to Prakriti. So that is the last function. So discriminative knowledge, the difference between Pradhana and Purusha. Now why it is said to be the last? Because it is very subtle that Purusha and Prakriti is fundamentally separated, or they are not united ever. But this fact is not known by intellect. In that stage, the stage which we say as ignorant, in that stage, there is enjoyment. And how the enjoyment? Enjoyment is also the reflection. Something is reflected, the object is reflected in the intellect, and that itself is called enjoyment. So this is the process here. Now all this process is a subject of meditation. So when we meditate what Prakriti and what Purusha is, so we can meditate on these matters. So this is also there in Gita in 3rd chapter and 4th chapter and 14th chapter, 16th chapter, 18th chapter. In many chapters or many slokas of Gita is discussing all this matter. What is Prakriti, and whatever is done by Prakriti is misidentified with Purusha, attributed to Purusha. So whatever enjoyment Purusha has, it is also attributed to them. Now, Purusha supposed to have no enjoyment he has. So therefore, all the attribution, when after the discriminative knowledge, the attribution goes out, and then there is no enjoyment, no bhoga. So that stage where the separation happens is called emancipation. So emancipation is also made by Prakriti. That is what Sankhya says. In Vedanta also we talk about something similar. We say as long as the ignorance is there, then you have the enjoyment and the moksha, mumukshu and Ishvara, and all those are there. Once the ignorance is gone by, or it is removed by knowledge, so then there is no separation. That is what he says. So moksha is the nature of Brahman. That is what we say. And here it is because according to Sankhya, Purusha has no characteristics other than Chit, consciousness. So consciousness is the only characteristic. The consciousness is called Purusha. Therefore, it has no connection with the emancipation or enjoyment or anything like that. It's completely unconnected. So this is what happens. So therefore, this is called Sukshma. But both this Purusha and Prakriti, they are the subtlest in the state of that subtle form. Therefore, the knowledge is also goes up to that. It is that, and again, because when we say subtlest in that two ways, one is the manifestation of Prakriti. When you go gross to subtle, the subtlest will be Prakriti. And when we compare with Prakriti and Purusha, Purusha is also subtle. So therefore, both are there together. So now, what is the importance here of intellect is acting like Jivatma here. So what we call as Jivatma, here it is intellect only. So intellect is reflected consciousness, then it is acting as a karta, as a doer, as enjoyer, and after that the mumukshu, and then become jivan mukta also. So all these forms are in this intellect level only.
Jivatma is same as Pratyagatma.
Ah, here this Pratyagatma, we can say this is the reflected consciousness. Because they have many jivas, it means the reflected consciousness is jiva here. So this is all done by buddhi. That is what it says. That is the importance of buddhi. So the bhoga and moksha both. Now the next Karika says, Tanmatras and their productions. Tanmatra is the subtle rudiment of gross elements, that is called Sarmatras. So this rudiment are sound and touch. They are not the particles, we should remember. They are sound, touch, the five objects. So these are called tanmatras. Why it is called tanmatra? Tanmatra means it is not mixed with anything else. So sound rudiment has only sound. No touch or no smell or nothing is connected to that. But when we see in the gross form, the sound which we hear, that has the support of other elements, because sound is produced after vibration. So for vibration, at least you need air or some movement, or sometimes even some part of earth you need, whatever elements, other elements is supported by supported in the gross level. But in subtle level, in rudiment level, there are no support. Therefore it is called tanmatra. There is no panchikarana. Yeah, for this point should be noted. In Sankhya Darshana, there is no panchikarana. Sankhya Darshana does not accept panchikarana. So they say panchikarana is not necessary. In Sankhya Sutras, there are many sutras which they deny and panchikarana, and say the panchikarana is a totally out here. It cannot be. They don't accept Trivikarana also. No Trivikarana, no Panchikarana. So what they say is, the Tanmatra itself takes the form, but when it comes to the manifestation of elements or the modification of elements, they work together. So there is no mixing as we learn in Vedanta as Panchikarana. They are not saying no mix. Even Trividkarana is not missing. Each part has its own character maintained. So here they say, if the object, the element maintain its own characteristics, then why you say there is a mixing? So they are totally denying this Panchikarana. It is, the denial is not here in these Karikas, it is there in Sutras. Because he is not talking about other darshanas. He is not comparing any other darshanas here. He is only discussing and giving the Siddhanta. So what is the metaphysics of Sankhya? That is discussed here. So we cannot ask question why it is not there. But in Sankhya Darshana, of course it is there. All the Purvapakshas and Siddhantas there. Most of the Purvapaksha is Vedanta only. Vedanta and some part Nyaya and other darshanas. So there is no Panchikarana. Now how the elements develops, here we have some indication how it develops. So the Shabda, the sound, first it is coming from Ahankara. Ahankara in the form of Tanmatras. That is subtle form, rudimentary form. We can say it's all in experiential level. From there, it takes the natural manifestation, natural process of manifestation. Then it becomes gross. How it came from Mahatattva to Ahankara and Ahankara to Tanmatra, the similar way it takes the manifestation naturally and then comes to the gross form which we hear as sound form. And then why it is said as gross form, sthula? Because after hearing the sound, we have all these three bhavas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So these three gunas, the forms or the manifestation or appearance of three gunas are experienced in the form of gross. Otherwise, in the subtle level, it is not experienced. The three gunas are not separated. So where we can separate these three gunas and experience three gunas, that level is called gross. That is the definition. In our Vedanta, what is gross? The Panchikritatvam, Sthulatvam. The gross means where the Panchikarana is completed. After the Panchikarana, the elements are called Sthula. And Apanchikritatvam, Sukshmatvam. What is subtle? Where there is no Panchikarana. So before the gross stage is called Apanchikrita. So that is Sukshma there in Vedanta. Here Tanmatras are Sukshma. That is the comparison. Tanmatras are called Sukshma. Sometimes in some Vedantic textbooks, this Tanmatra word is also used. Somewhere in Bhagavad Gita is also there and Brahma Sutra is also there. Some Upanishads also, the Tanmatra word is there. The Bhashya also we can see. In Krshna Upanishad, Prithivi cha Prithivi Matra cha Akashas cha Akasha Matra, there the Tanmatra, the word Tanmatra is used. So Tanmatra is used perfectly for Sukshma only. So Sukshma, here it is Tanmatra. Here Apanchikritatvam na. And then this here the gross form is this, where the appearance of Trigunas can be experienced or perceived through mind and sense organs. So that level of manifestation is called gross. So that is described here in this sloka 38. Tanmatranya visheshastebhyo bhodani panja panjabhyah. Ede smrita vishesha shanta ghora mudhascha. So Tanmatrani Avisheshaha. These Tanmatras, the subtle rudiment elements, are called Avisheshaha. Avishesha means indistinguishable. Specifically, we cannot see and experience. So that they are called Avisheshaha. It is not unmanifested. It cannot be translated as unmanifested. It is already in the manifestation. Because sometimes in some books we will find avisheshaha as unmanifested. It is not unmanifested. It is manifested but non-specific. There is no distinction. You cannot distinguish the three forms and like that. So non-specific stage is called avisheshaha. So we have avishesha. Five tanmatras are avishesha technically, and one more as asmida matram. It is said in Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra, you can refer 219. Yoga Sutra number 219. The tanmatras and asmida matra. So these 6 are avisheshas. Asmida matra is the form of ahankara. The individual ahankara is called asmida matra. So these 6 are called avisheshas. And out of these 6, from 5 tanmatras, tebhyaha bhudani pancha panchabhyaha. So from 5 those tanmatras, these great elements, this bhudani comes out. So tebhyaha panchabhyaha panchabhutani. This we already know. And ede smritaha visheshaha. And these 5 elements in gross level is called visheshaha. Why? Because they are specific. They are specific means we can experience them. So they called visheshaha. So here visheshaha we have 16 visheshas. Ekadasha indriya, 11 indriyas, and these 5 elements, gross elements. Together 16. So this 16 is called vishesha, and 6 is called avishesha. So specific and non-specific. And now he is giving the reason. This is very technical. Why it is vishesha and how it is gross. Shantaha ghorascha mudhascha. So these elements can be experienced in 3 forms. These 3 forms manifested and appear in experiential level. Therefore, it is called Vishesha. Avishesha, although Trigunas are there, but they are not in the level of experience. They are not experiential level. They are more subtle. Only can be experienced by mind, what is Tanmatra, by special mind. So Shantaha, this resembles or it's a form of Sattva. Shanta. It can be translated as tranquil. Shanta we translate as tranquil or pacific. The pacific is Shanta or tranquil, Shanta Bhava. So when you have that feeling. So this can be experienced from the objects. And Ghoraha, terrific form. Terrific, causing pain. Why it is terrific? Because causing pain, suffering. So it's connected to Rajas. So when you are in Shanta, in tranquil state, you have a feeling of good experience. So peaceful, relaxed state. But when mind is active, so the action comes out, and when there is action brings pain for body and mind and all, because you are losing energy. You are using energy and losing energy. So you feel tired and all those things. So therefore it is called terrific. It's not really as what we see on a terrific object. It's not like that. But the emotion there or the manifestation which we experience is terrific. Disagreeable, it's translated. Then comes mudhaha. It's a manifestation of tamas. Stupid. Mudhaha means you feel no, dullness. That is what the mudha means. And the stupidity. Stupidity comes up when you have no active mind and you are not thinking much and knowing the object like that. In that state it is called mudha. So these are the experience, or we can say the object what we see outside, elements. These forms are there. Actually, not only these forms, there are so many kinds of manifestations and so many kinds of objective experiences, but they are all connected to these three. Somehow we have to understand these three: Shanta, Ghora, and Mudha. So this is why they are called Vishesha. So these 16 together, sense organs, mind, and these objects outside, elements outside, these 16 together brings all these experiences. So therefore, these 16 are also called Vishesha. This is the manifestation. Now, here the main element or the controller is Ahankara. Why? Because all these 16 plus this 6, 16 plus 6 avishesha, 6 avisheshas and 16 visheshas. So the all came out from Ahankara. It means these all are controlled by Ahankara in that level. How? Because Tanmatras are the manifestation of Ahankara. Ekadasha Indriyas are the manifestation of Ahankara. The 5 elements are the manifestation of Tanmatras. So these all together controlled by Ahankara. And Ahankara is getting the back force of intellect. Back force in the sense because intellect is giving the imprint of previous experiences, like memory or subconscious level of thought process. It is giving the back force. So through that, the Ahankara will experience all this in Avishesha level and Vishesha level. When mind is in concentrated state, so when there is no vrittis, chitta vritti nirodha, so in that state it can experience the tanmatra level. So only the pure sound and all those objects. So not completely in samadhi, samprajnata, in samprajnata level we can say, not in asamprajnata. Asamprajnata you cannot experience anything like this. But in samprajnata level, you will experience the object as it is. That is what it says. Object as it is. So there is no additional feeling or emotions connected to the object. So then you will see the original form of elements. That is what the experience is. Tanmatra. Now, 39th Karika. So it is going forward to describe how these gross bodies and elemental bodies are formed. Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira. The subtle elemental body and the gross elemental body. How it is formed. And then we will discuss the Linga Sharira, the transcendental body. So we have 3 bodies, actually 4 bodies. According to Vedanta, we can say 4 bodies are there. It's not Karma Sharira. Karma Sharira is always there. First gross body, then subtle body, then Linga Sharira. Then comes Adivahika Sharira. The body which is used only to transmit from this body to another body. So in between we have Adivahika Sharira, the carrying body, we can say, Adivahika Sharira. So that we will discuss. This is another important point we learn from Sankhya. The difference between subtle body and this Linga Sharira, the transcendental body, and the Sukshma Stula Sharira, gross body. And there, the next page we have the transmigration steps. So it is connected to that. The Linga Sharira can be said transmigrating body. So which the body which transmigrate, then transcendental level. Sukshma Mada Pidrijaha Saha Prabhudais Tridha Visheshasyuhu. Sukshmasthesham niyata mada pidrija nivartande. Sukshmasthesham niyata mada pidrija nivartande. Sukshmasthesham niyata mada pidrija nivartande. Sukshmaha mada pidrijaha Saha Prabhudais Tridha Visheshaha Syuhu. So, Sukshmaha, subtle bodies. Mada Pitrijaha, the bodies produced from mother and father. That is gross body. The body produced from mother and father. Mada Pitrijaha. Saha Prabhutaihi. So Prabhuta, Bhutas means great, these gross elements. So together with these gross elements. So Mada Pitrichaha, the bodies made by parents are produced with the support of great elements. That is what it says. So Saha Prabhutaihi Mada Pitrichaha. Tridha Visheshaha Syuhu. So this way, this distinguishable or specific objects are threefold. How? First is Sukshma body, and the Sthula body, then the elements. So this way, this Visheshaha, again the development of Vishesha is threefold. So Tridha Visheshaha Syuhu. Sukshmaha. Now out of these three, we have two bodies. Out of two, the Sukshma body has this speciality. Sukshmaha stesham niyataha. These subtle bodies are constant or everlasting. It is continuant. Niyataha. Sukshmaha stesham niyataha. It stays unless you get liberated. It is not always there, but only it is separated or it is destroyed when you get liberated. Till then, it is there. Therefore, it is called Sukshmaha Tesham Niyataha. But Mada Pitrijaha Nivartante. So the bodies produced from mother and father, it goes back. Nivartante. The word meaning is goes back. It means cease off, perish. So when there is the combination of karma, with these 5 elements, and 5 elements special combination is special bodies. So all the bodies, including the trees and creeps and all that what we say, all are bodies, different entities. So these are made by karmas, that we will learn later, because now we are going connected with karmas. And with according to karma, each body is different, and according to the karma, the 5 elements takes different combinations, different forms for each body. Therefore, each body is different and has different experiences. But as we know, it is perishable. One day it will lose its combination, and the 5 elements will be separated. That is how bodies decay. So because out of 5 elements, each element is separated, then body is destroyed. That is what they say. Madapidrachaha nivartante. So now the connection with the subtle body and the gross body. As we know, each body has a mind. As we have minds, the other tree and other elements also has their own minds. That is what Sankhya says. Sankhya is the first science which said even trees and other creeps and whatever the green life. So they have life and they have mind and they have understanding. So they said that because they are all having a tamasika mind, according to Sankhya, because they are always connecting with gunas. So they say this tree and others, they are having tamasika mind, and the human beings as rajasika mind, because they are acting with this, and all above human beings, like suppose devatas and all those, they are having sattvika minds. So now this mind is 5 elements, like 5 elements for 5 tanmatras. So this Sukshma Sharira is made of 5 tanmatras. Okay, so tanmatra has all this sound and all those in a subtle form. So therefore, in our thought process, we have all the 5 objects. 5 objects in subtle form. That is what the thought, the mind means. So what we are thinking, objects only. If we remove all the objects, mind has no existence. So mind exists in objects which are in subtle form. Now these objects which are there in subtle form are reflected outside with the support of the gross elements. That is what they say. How? Because the elements outside has some attraction or some connection with the inside elements. The tanmatras are the cause elements, karana, and the objects outside is karya. So the karya and karana, cause and effect, will always maintain some relation. So that relation is there. Therefore, when we see an object outside, the object inside in the form of tanmatra will connect through mind, then we perceive the object outside. It is not with the names and form. It is all with the experience, the emotion, what we feel, what we experience from that. We experience these 3, Shanta, Ghora, Mudha. sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes passive. No good, no bad, nothing like that. So these experiences are connected to mind. But when we see outside objects, we think that the experience is outside. This is how they say. In one place in Bhashya, this point is mentioned because this is it's a special research of Sankhya. They say the objects which has same characters, let them be far with a very long distance of gap, or no, the time with the distance, or the time gap or the distance, they will always connect. That they said. Now in science, as you know, this electrons entanglement, what they say, quantum entanglement, but they say the same theory. That is how they work with this. So this has been mentioned by them. That is how they connected the mind and the object. Why they are connecting together? The reason is not because Indriyas are only mediums. They are only dwaras, not doors to go around. The mind has the one part of this element outside, so they are connected. Now they are together, and this togetherness or the process they are getting connected is called experience, that we are seeing, hearing and all those. So this perceiving experience is connecting only. And now you may ask why they are not always connected. The reason is mind can only bring out or give concentration to one object at a time. Therefore, all cannot be experienced at once. Why? Mind is very subtle. Mind can only connect one object at a time. Therefore, you perceive one object at a time with the same characters. Now, the different characters cannot go together. This theory is accepted because the Sankhyas were not knowing about this quantum entanglement or the electrons and protons theory and all those, because they were not aware about this. But they thought about the same concept or this theory what we have as in a practical level now. They conceptually understood it. This is the difference. That they have not made any object with this theory, but they said there is a connection between the cause and the effect, and this connection cannot be separated. Therefore, the object how we perceive, the perceiving, what we say as a perceiving, receiving, is because they have these attachments. The similar characters are attached. Therefore, sound will only the sound and or the sound, it is very difficult to understand, but the touch we can understand. The touch is connected to skin, because skin has the elements to receive the touch, the feeling of touch. So therefore, the skin is connected to touch, and this feeling goes to mind. So now this Indriya and the object and the mind, three has the same character, the same object. So the outside, the air, and then skin and the mind. So therefore, we are having this experience. Now what is the perceiving experience? This is the perceiving experience. So we are receiving the special touch of the wind or air or whatever. So the touch feeling is brought by this Sparshendriya. The Sparshendriya and the mind and the object has same character. Therefore, they are received. And this theory is more established in yoga philosophy. They say if the touch and other objects can be received in proximity, and why not when they are far away, in non-proximity. So they thought about this, because theory says if at all they are far away, they will have the connection. So this way they develop special ability in indriyas through mind. So let the object be far away, but you will get the connection through this theory. So they made the formula from this. So the object will be there. How? If the mind receives the object, if mind has the object, you can receive the object anywhere. If I remember the city of Delhi, it is there in the mind, any object. So the mind goes there and the object is there, so I can go and see, sitting here. So that is how they developed this sarvajnata, perceiving special characters, special objects. So this development is there in the 3rd chapter of Yoga Sutra. So that is based on this theory. The objectification of mind is everything. And Vedanta even take little more further. Vedanta says, why you think the objects are outside? So let the object be in mind. So mind creates everything, and you enjoy mind, and that's all. So why you give a separate reality for these 5 elements, and then something separate, and then this connection on all those processes. So it happens everything in life. The holographic theory. So Vedanta developed the holographic theory. So holographic theory, everything is there in the mind, and you project outside. You can project anywhere. And whatever from mind wants to project, it will project. So this way it developed. You see how the ground is there in the Sankhya. Therefore people now taking Sankhya as a very serious, because they have just brought everything. That is in sutra form. If you read all this, you will not directly understand from this. But the idea is conveyed, you can develop this. They are connecting all this, because they don't have the vocabulary what we have now, scientific vocabularies and formulas. They are discussing from some other level, with this Purusha and that. So this is how all the perceiving process and action and thought process. Now we will discuss about the thought process connected to karmas. And now there is one role of karma, important role of karma for all these actions. Perceiving and receiving and then experiencing. The karma has a big role there. So that we will discuss later. Okay. Om Purnamatah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.